Look, man, it's 2018 vintage Conway. What do you want me to say?
The guitars with the pianos in the background go kind of crazy.
In your raps, you said you ballin', boy. You like a clown, pippin' ass nigga. You only good when Mike's around. Lucky I've been trying to change my life around. I would've been tried to knife you down.
Look at that. Conway stuck to his word. He said he was trying to change his life around. Then he made God Don't Make Mistakes, and it seemed like he did it.
My bitches.
Not to mention that motivational pain provided profit album that was like Think and Grow Nigga Rich.
Bullet holes on my neck, I just threw ice around. Don't need you to hold my hand.
That line is tough. Bullet holes in my neck and I threw ice around it. That's hard.
Nigga couldn't even show you a thigh. I'm with a bitch eating lobster roll at Noble and Tile. You niggas might as well throw in the towel. Cause I'ma be on top with the flow for a while.
Alright, I thought that was a pretty decent intro. I think Conway left a little food on the bones. I think in this point in his career, he was really getting his bag with the lyricism. He had pretty much straightforward rhyme schemes, a straightforward stop-start flow. He did have a couple standout, really grimy lines. Probably the best one being that I got shot in my neck and put a chain around it. But pretty much from start to finish, it was no internal rhymes, just a 3-syllable to start, then a 2-syllable, then a 4-syllable in the verse, which is kind of a mixed bag as far as technical rapping in my opinion. I thought the beat was pretty interesting. It's not the best Derringer beat I heard, but I like the feel of that guitar and that piano chord right behind it. Let's get in a Slapbox.
The Mac in the bushes and the steak in the
dang.
yard. Cradle going
You hear
to
this
get the
sample?
Henny, grab a fifth of cigars, brought out a half a zip of smoke. Then I'm
Nah,
twisting
he
it
rapping
all.
now.
Niggas drunk, slapboxing in the street, doing pull-ups on the tree. My nigga Killer Tone pull up in the V.
Yes,
Pull over, he just
sir.
got-
He rapping about my grandma's house.
Remember that fat nigga Ronnie from Riverside with all the blocks? Had the
Get to the
G-Wagon, used to be
storytelling.
when Twana got shot. I was leaving this bitch.
Nah, niggas in the hood got G-Wagons?
That nigga pussy, we probably won't have to clap him. We gon' take the ratchet anyway, in case that's how it got to happen. So is you down or what? My face frowning up, brown in my cup. Like what you mean am I down or what? We laying this nigga
Let's
down
go.
or what? Sleep,
Lyricism is up
night.
on this
that
one.
nigga got cake, we all gonna be straight. If Killer right, I seen her on the walkie-talkie, said he pulled in the driveway. I already climbed in the window like Smokey on Friday.
That Smokey on Friday line is tough.
Jump back in the whip, I said we straight, we good. We jumped back on the 190 and went straight to the hood.
Man, that song is hard. Out of all the Conway songs I've ever heard, this is one of his better songs. Storytelling, phenomenal. This is kind of a bag that Conway doesn't get into too much. He'll have these short snippets where he'll tell a story for a couple of lines, kind of more so painting a scene, some grimy imagery. But this was a full-blown 32 or so bar storytelling. Everything was vivid from the conversations, them getting ready to run down on the dude when the robbery actually happened, then the getaway. Then I knocked his lyricism a little bit on Bullet Holes in My Neck, but on this song, the lyricism was what I come to expect from 2018 Conway the Machine. Intricate internal rhyming, good rhyme schemes all around. He threw a couple good punches in there, the Friday, Smokey from Friday punch. Then I thought this was a really creative sample flip from Derringer. The sample was so distorted and muddy, I can't even make out what instruments that was, but it gave off a really unique sound. And then I like those jazzy drums behind it. A phenomenal song. This is Piper.
La Máquina, that mean machine, nigga. Pardon me.
Duolingo Rosetta Stone.
Look, rock the medicine ball legacies. New God flow,
What a
so
sample.
every bar heavenly. Winslow is flawless, so every broad check.
Keys sound
I'm better than
crazy.
y'all, definitely on another level than y'all. I can't never see y'all catching me.
Good rhyme scheme, and then he has this alliteration that's going on in the middle of it.
Look how I step on the saw, Gregory Hines when whipping mines, nigga. Lambo trucks in the winter time, nigga. AK bullets that hit his spine. Told you that we don't play fair, so get in line, nigga. I put niggas in position to live out these.
I love when rappers reference their own music in their music. That was a reference to Air Holes off of Griselda Ghost. Nah, Air Holes is on Reject 2, my bad.
I'm caught side of Staples, haters so close to the bench, you think I play for Lakers.
I like that line.
Cracks, my razor scrape my plate up. I got my cake up, now I'm cotton real estate in acres.
This is a good flow right here.
I'm the inspiration, I'm about to wake the greats up.
That's another excellent song. That beat by Pete Rock is fire. Pete Rock's drum choices is always on point in my opinion. And then I love this sample. It was really textured. My favorite part about the sample was those pianos that were somewhat in the background. Song had a jazzier heavier feel than what Conway typically raps over, but I thought he sounded right at home. Intricate rhyme schemes from him. He got into some alliteration, especially in that first half of the verse. He in his bag when it comes to the vivid imagery. Only thing negative I gotta say about that song is that could have been a 3.5, 4 minute song for all I cared. It felt short, but it was sick. This is ODB.
That is a trippy sound.
These first 3 Derringer beats, including this one, have sound super out of the box. Everything still feels ominous, what you come and expect from Derringer and Conway, but he's picking some eclectic samples.
Vultures and fake niggas that can't wait to pistol whip you, break a bone in your face if you don't open your safe. Tony Montana shit, stick your nose in the whole case. Think about machine gun, I might pull the whole ace. Plug send it from a whole nother state.
RIP Machine Gun. So he started with a 4-syllable rhyme scheme, and those last couple of bars was a 5-syllable rhyme scheme. The dude can play with some syllables, man.
The label told me to wait, but fuck that, I'm dropping now. You can't hold me, I'm great. Plus it only.
Hey, I wish you'd have had this mindset now. Won't he do was supposed to drop in March.
3 classics in a year, nobody told me to make. I'm working, nigga. Remember niggas wouldn't throw me a plate, so used to chop a fire, I could feel at home in Kuwait. They ain't. You ain't built for behind a wall, you better safe it up. Niggas up north in the yard getting their faces cut. Oh fuck, nigga. If I run out of patience, I'ma spray shit up. We taking what we want, and nobody about to say shit to us. Shooters on the payroll, riding around with they.
That was dope. He had a 3-syllable rhyme scheme right there that he took for like 8 bars, but it was rapid fire because how he was using it in the internal raps too.
Yeah, yo, powder on they nose, their eyes won't stay closed. The chopper bullets make holes in your body and take souls. That's why I gotta be the illest with the shit. Case closed, nigga.
This is definitely Conway's signature grimy style, so it's a little weird saying that he stepped outside the box and experimented a little bit, but that's what it felt like. At least it was a baby experiment. Like, you knew what the outcome would be. It was like when you make the volcano with baking soda, that kind of experiment. Unique sample choice. It gave less of a spooky vibe and more of this like spacey ethereal vibe. That weird wobbly note and then those guitar string plucks. I thought that sounded really good. And then the drums behind it sounded good. Conway came with 2 cipher style verses, a lot of syllable manipulation in there. Wasn't heavy with the punch lines, but still good imagery. The braggadocio just oozing off every single line. I like where this project is going a lot. This is Land O'Lakes.
These keys are hard. This is a grimy beat.
The shooter snort a gram of flake. Shit was Land O'Lake. Dan on face. Blaming at your nana place.
Rapid fire 3-syllable.
Demand your cake. Bell's palsy, but bitches still love my handsome face.
Really dog.
Shit is like Deontay Wilder versus a bantamweight. I beat you to one of my hands and break me. You hear the classic shit I'm making lately? Ain't it crazy? The kid with the twisted face, the new face is shady.
That's hard. The kid with a twisted face, a face of shady. That's tough.
Trucks, guts was blue.
That relationship didn't last long.
Shit was all bulletproof like Luke Cage. Bitches tell me I'm the new.
That's a simple line, but I still like that whip was bulletproof like Luke Cage line.
On West McNichols, I'm eating New Wave.
New Wave, McNichols, that's out in Detroit. I thought that line was a shout out to Bodie James because that's the area he's from, but I didn't even know those two had a relationship at that point. I'm pretty sure they was on each other's radars at the very least, though.
I hit the club and popped a few spades. I'm getting pussy like Uncle Luke in his 2 live prune days. She can't suck this dick again if she ain't swallowed.
Another simple line, but I like it because the humor behind it with the Uncle Luke line.
Gotta get through me before you get the M. Ain't drop an album that already about to hit the M.
This is why I just call everything a project, or I call everything an album. Niggas be having 100 projects talking about their debut album.
Complicate your cardiovascular, it's the ambassador. I'm sledgehammering niggas before I throw them over the banister. I'm stuffing everybody part up inside of a small canister.
Talk, buzz.
To the J-Rule, they call me I hate you, the damager. Gotta change, bitch. I changed the game quick. Y'all say the same shit. Y'all look like the same flick, same prick. How you getting bread when you picture on the same strip? Strange click. Don't need the frown. Y'all go down on the same chick. Brain sick.
I see what everybody was talking about. Conway was the last person who I got into in Griselda, well, at least out of him, Gunn, and Benny. It probably wasn't helpful that my intro to Conway was WWCD and Lulu, which I don't think was the best representation of how intricate and how good he is penmanship-wise. But going back through his back catalog and hearing his 2017 to 2018 run, I see what niggas was talking about. Originally, I was just like, I don't understand understand how y'all could say this nigga who made Tana Talk 3 isn't the best in his clique, but this dude is rapping. I think I've heard him punch a little bit harder in other songs, but when every bar is as grimy as it is, and when he's getting this intricate with the lyricism, it makes an enjoyable song. And then throw in the fact that this beat was absolutely sick. Those arpeggiating keys sounded great. The drums sounded great. And then like the little cherry on top was Bus had a really fire verse. I think Conway easily had the better verse out of the two, but he complimented the song well. He had like a mid-tempo flow, and I thought it went over really good. Pretty good rhyme schemes from him too. I like the gritty, violent bars that he started his verse with. And then at the end of the song, I like when they kept chopping and cutting the beat in and out to go along with Busta's flow. That was a fire touch. I think that's a sick song. This is the Scorpion.
Lately I've been feeling more than cocky. None of y'all can stop me. The Audemars Rocky, titty boy Versace. Remember I called Big Lovey, told him to call the block. Now it's 10 blocks or better when I call a pop. Out in LA, I'm still connected with the sour. At the Beverly Hotel with something sexy in the shower. Woo. Fresh off the boat, you can see the stamp on my brick. Virgil himself wrote on my kicks. Nothing but killers and drug dealers on my strip. Body's about to drop, and bitch, you on my list. What's up, nigga?
Bro, is this a Conway album? Is niggas experimenting? Is that what's going on here? Look, I ain't saying that's my favorite song going here. I thought that song was pretty good. I don't think it was as good as like a Lando Lakes or Sandbox, some of the better songs on here. But that's really unique, and I like what that does for the pacing and the sequencing of the album. I think one of the biggest critiques I had of several of Conway's albums was the songs start feeling formulaic. And lyrically, you can still say that, even though I don't personally think it's getting repetitive at this point. But when you throw in a beat like this, the back and forth between that gorgeous piano chord and then those loud blaring chops, the two beats had two different tempos too. So to switch back and forth and for Conway to be able to stay in a pocket, I think that's tough. His rap is good. It's similar to what has been on the entirety of this album. I like that song. This is Sky Joint 2.
It got a vibe where it's like,
this
it's
is a
celebratory, you know, it's the fly side of this and the fly side of that, and it just makes
I like
sense
that
all
vocal
across the
sample.
board. And it started out like, it said, money gave us the ambition they wanted to put on us. Tried to show us through a sermon we learned up the corner. Showing for them bottle service bills. Or being bishop and thinking you gotta murder still. Or trying to work a mill.
I love him painting this street imagery of like wanting to get it and the greed it can lead into. I like him using the Bishop and Juice imagery to paint that picture too.
All for the goal of the applause. Give me mine in bags. I'm low like scheming cards. I don't need that love. I celebrate
like
all the highs,
cards.
but still respect all the lows. Know I was made outside. Like before you step on the dope, spade on the conduit.
I was made outside like before you step on the dope, like cocaine's originally made in a field before you start cutting it up and stuff in kitchens. And Skyzoo saying he got his experience from being outside. And then of course that line alludes to the drug game.
Life is alright cause we own. Even behind the wall, he's still a boss like he was home. Staring out the window on his long flight to get home. I'm just clearing my mind as I write on my phone. I mean that you see this rollie that I rock on my wrist. To you it's a rollie, to me it's just a watch on the wrist. The shit I'm trying is got me rich. We ain't having pot to piss, now we on property shopping the kid. All the Chanel shit I got from my bitch, but I could've got me a brick and got the whole hood popping like rich.
Hey, love that song, man. Anytime anybody Griselda collaborates with Skyzoo, it's gonna slap. Skyzoo's just elite with the pen. And then Conway matched pen for pen on this song. It seemed like both verses were two sides of the same coin. Skyzoo really narrated the streets that he grew up in, and he had several clever lines laced through there. Conway's verse came from the perspective of him being on the plane and looking back on what it took for him to get there. So it plays right into the imagery that Skyzoo painted in his verse. I like those last couple of lines saying that he got what he had through rapping, but it could have went the other way, and he could have got what he did through the street life, like Rich Porter. I think that's who he's alluding to. That beat was silky. It had this like 90s or 80s R&B soul vibe to it. That vocal sample was my favorite part of the beat. This is another good change of pace too. I love the sequencing of this album. It seems like Conway is getting closer and closer to making a complete album. Like I'm starting to see the connection between, say, a Reject 2 and a From a King to a God. Once you fill in the blanks, you see a gradual shift and Conway getting more and more versatile with his style while also staying true to his style. Tough song. This is 212. Bro, bells might be my favorite instrument in hip hop. I don't know why, but it seems like an instrument that you can't incorporate. But when niggas manage to do it, it sounds tough.
Keep in mind, these raps I keep in mind, I don't read a
Rapid
rhyme.
fire,
I just
3
see the lines
syllable.
in my head. I'm lyrically inclined.
Slow
Spray the
it,
Mac,
dog.
shells ate his back. Now you can see his spine. Stating facts, I'm on it like that until I'm seeing time.
Man, and he still got this 3-syllable rhyme scheme going with the state this facts internal rhyme scheme.
You ain't believe, but you gon' see in time. My it was written eyes, you can't shine. You a gram, I'm a key of China. When you see me, boy, you see a giant. I handle pressure like 03 LeBron, and I ain't even see my prime missing. If a piece of mine's missing, I'ma turn this bitch to Vietnam. Nobody did it like Benny, me and Slime.
That verse is hard. Outside of Slapbox, that might be his best verse on this.
L's vicious, well wishes, call Chanel kisses.
Man, I already see what it's going with the rhyme schemes. Hey, I'm telling you, man, Elzai, if he didn't have such a break in his discography, he would be in the best active rapper conversation easily. I mean, I still think he is, but when his career had the most momentum, like the Preface, Elmatic time period, he had only like 3 albums in a 10-year span with Elmatic, Preface, and Lead Poison, I think is what the 2016 album was called. But dog, what he can do with syllables, I don't think anybody can rap like him.
Spitting sick, they asking is he well. After dinner, I stick a chick's percenter, then spin her like a dizzy spell. I do not miss when I jot this.
Fire.
I fill your storylines with cliffhangers and plot twists. Took all your Lexus die. So if I hopped in the ghost, most of y'all will feel possessed inside. The next to blow in Mexico.
Fire. If I hop in the ghost, y'all will feel possessed inside.
I witnessed credit rip-offs, temporary layoffs, and more straps than lingerie cloth. Now my house is sitting where they play golf. That's a different hole in one from a stolen gun. They get you 3 strikes if you ain't bowling none.
The golf wordplay into the bowling wordplay, that was hard.
I keep Franklin's, that's Washington and Thomas, man. In my eyes, you see the future like Nostradamus can. You in the past, don't make me turn you into black history. The lack mystery, it's whack dissing me. My nuts is too big.
Future to Black History line, that's hard too.
To rock a show and pack the house like I was there, Horton. Shock the world towards repair all electric chairs, shortens.
Man, that song is sick. It's between that and Slapbox is the best song on this album. I think purely from a technical rapping perspective, this was Conway's best verse. The storytelling might push his Slapbox verse over this one, but the syllables, this one was it. But then he did all that just for Elzai to have a better verse. That man can rap. Elzai's verse was the best verse on this album, in my opinion. This nigga got some of the craftiest ways of saying he's better than you. His braggadocio is just off the charts. And then when you pair that with his ability to manipulate syllables and rhyme schemes, amazing, dog. When you're not factoring in time period, so like if you're not taking in the fact that 90s wasn't as developed as far as lyricism, Elzai is one of the best to ever do it. Point blank, period. This is Sigel and State Property.
Look, my shooter going for his 8th body.
I like how these pianos is getting chopped up right here.
Nigga we had beef with was in the same jail thinking he safe, probably left the meat hanging off his face. Slap that at my nigga.
Yeah, that's
A
grimy,
yam away,
dog.
go for a handsome price. Whip them grams tonight, turn on that cold
I like this
water,
flow.
hand me ice. Them racks I ran up, stacked my bands of Tyson Chandler. Hey, snatched the fan right. Your bitch said I'm that nigga. Damn, you right. I guess you right.
He's
My
spazzing
safe
right
look
now.
like I pulled off the Latanza heist.
He took that last round scheme for a minute, but his delivery right here is crazy.
Dog been selling dog food. I thought all he had was reefer. This nigga had his hands on boy like a Catholic preacher. This that animal love shit. I'm with.
That line is hard. Nah, that bar is crazy. That's the best bar on this album by a good little bit too. The way he set it up was sick. He was saying he thought his little homie was only selling weed, but he had his hands on boy like a Catholic priest. Boy being the slang name for heroin, so he was selling heroin when he thought he was just selling weed. That line's crazy.
I'm Sigel in State Property. What hand you roll up with? This for them niggas still selling bass. Married to the streets, smoking wedding cake. Mac 11 by the
Married
way.
to the street smoking wedding cake, the strain wedding cake, that's fire.
Fellas can relate. Even Warren G respect the way I regulate.
Hey, that's how you close an album. That was the grimiest song going here. That beat was disgusting. Those keys sounded spooky. It sounded like something bad was finna happen. And the way they chopped up the piano sample, I thought that was hard. Conway lost his mind with the rapping. He definitely had the lyricism, but man, his delivery, how urgent and aggressive he sounded on this song, sick, especially at the start of the song. Then he just like blew the roof off the verse when he got to that hand on boy like a Catholic priest line. That bar was special. Sick song, and dog, this is a sick album. For me, as someone who's experiencing this in chronological order, this feels like the confirmation that Conway has hit his prime. I think he really found his aesthetic in 2016 with Reject 2. I saw steady progression in his lyricism in 2017 to cap that off with The GOAT. Then in 2018, outside that project with Sonny Jim, which was trash, he's putting everything together. Black Tape was fire, and I think this might be even better. Outside of The GOAT, this probably is the best project I've heard from Conway up to this point in this series. So not counting none of his recent stuff. The lyricism was just as good as it's been on any of the Conway projects up to this point. And I think the production was not only fire, he really stepped outside the box. He did stay true to his style, and these songs did have a spooky aesthetic, but he tried different stuff, whether it was the 2 different beats with 2 different tempos on Scorpion, playing with a little bit jazzier production on the Pete Rock beat, smooth songs like Sky Joint, but then you have the straight up spooky bangers like Land O'Lakes, Sigel and State Prop. And because you got all that variety, this album felt really entertaining from start to finish. One of my biggest critiques with a lot of Conway's projects up to this point in time was that once you get towards the end, all the verses start feeling interchangeable because all the songs are pretty formulaic. That wasn't the case here. I heard some people say that the Everybody is Food series is Conway's answer to the Hitler Wears Hermes series from Westside Gunn. We'll see as I get into the next 2, but this is definitely a strong start. Fire project for sure.